So Sheree tells Drew that she is old and cold. Love it. The Jamaican trip comes with a lot of rules from Sanya, and Kandi really doesn't trust Todd when it comes to estate planning and Riley. Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. My name is Cynthia, aka CFlow, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to discuss Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 12, trust planning issues. So, we start off at Kandi having a surprise birthday party for Ace. Drew and Kenya shows up with their daughters. Adorable. Kandi tells them that she had to shut down her play, which is kind of sad. She had to shut down her play because the vid then hit her crew. So she's real disappointed in that. And apparently, when you shut down like that, you pretty much stop the show permanently. Like you could lose a lot of money that way. That's interesting. I don't know nothing about Broadway. Whatever. And then they talk about the Blue Ridge trip, of course. Kenya says that basically Marlo has a heart on for her. So that was pretty much it for that scene. Now, let's talk about Marlo, Sheree, and Sanya, who show up to Lay Archive, which, by the way, we all know is spelled wrong. Sheree and Sanya meet Marlo at Lay Archive. They, of course, start talking about the trip. Sanya and Sheree just basically tells Marlo that they felt sorry for her and how things didn't go well. Sanya mentions the Jamaica trip and that she says that everyone has to bring a plus one. Doesn't mean it's like a couple, but it doesn't mean that it has to be a same sex. You want to bring your friend, bring your little girlfriend, or whatever. So Sanya calls Kenya, in which Kenya's at the birthday party, and she proceeds to tell. Well, first of all, she sees that Kandi and Drew are there, and Sanya says that I'm inviting you guys to a pre-Jamaica trip party at my house coming up. I think it was that Saturday or whatever. Anyway, she also proceeds to tell Kenya that it is a couples trip. And she was trying to explain, and Kenya was like, I'm not trying to hear that. And she hung up on the girl, which I was like, okay. So Marlo says she hung up and is upset by this because she ain't got no one to bring. Now, okay, so Marlo, who you got to bring is what I want to know. Just ridiculous. Kandi and Drew feels like the pushing of the couples only trip is a little insensitive because Kenya's going through a divorce. Of course, she ain't got nobody, and I'm sure Kenya would prefer to bring a dude, right, that she's seeing instead of a friend. But I don't think Sanya really thought that through. Marlo sees a parenting coach. She starts off the session crying, talking about how stressed she feels, like she's about to have a breakdown. And she tells the therapist or the coach, that she kicked the boys out and explains why. The coach tells her that when it comes to the boys, she needs to be strong, but not yelling strong to the boys, like stern, but don't be yelling all the time, right? He also suggests that she needs to come up with weekly meetings to them to discuss things, as well as create a schedule for them, like, for instance, a time that they need to do their homework for an hour or whatever. So I think those are good suggestions. The doctor also said it's very, very important for her not to let the boys feel like they were abandoned, which to me, I think is a little too late. They already probably feel that way. And then she says she plans to bring the boys to the next session. Kandi, Todd, Kayla, and Riley sit down and have a discussion about the trust planning, right? And Kandi, which I thought this was funny, starts talking about her assets that she brought to the table, Todd's assets that he brought to the table, which is zero, and then the assets that they have together. Production is shady because it clearly shows what we already know, that Kandi came to the table with a lot more than Todd. Okay. So I hope that prenup was tight. Okay. Riley points out to them that her and Kayla were brought up differently. Like Todd is more stern. He's got that tough love. You got to work for it. Whereas Kandi's like, look, I got the money. I'm going to give my daughter money and she going to be in a nice place. I'm going to get her a nice apartment. She going to go to the best school. She's going to have money to dress the way she wants. And they're totally opposites. And so Riley feels like if God forbid something happens to Kandi, that her lifestyle is going to change. And it probably will if Todd continues to be that way with Riley. All three of them talks to Todd about how he's just kind of too tough. Even his daughters talked about that. And Kandi basically says she really doesn't trust him to make decisions for her as it relates to Riley. If something should happen to her. And of course, Todd was mad and walked out and all that stuff. But she has a point. Like, you can't just change the way that Riley has been living. I mean, you just can't do that. Anywho, hopefully they can work that out. Yeah, so we see briefly Sanya, and she decides to have her pre-Jamaica party turn into a Sheree birthday party because she found out it was Sheree's birthday. Kandi and Todd has a discussion by themselves, and Todd's like, the kids are entitled, and Kandi says they have to express it the way they feel. Kandi just basically tells, look, I'm more free with my coins when it comes to my child than you are with your daughter, and it's the truth. She also mentioned how she was disappointed with the play closing down, but if someone approached her to produce another play, but she's not sure. And Todd encouraged her that she should do it. And I think that's good. He encourages her to do some things. Then we get to Sanya's Sheree birthday party. The girls show up to the party. Kandi asks Marlo if she's feeling a little better. Apparently, Sanya lives far away because Drew talking about she should have booked a flight to her place. I think Kenya even mentioned I think it was Kenya mentioned something about how far the place was. Sanya and Kenya kind of walk away, and they start talking about her decor because she trusts Kenya, and Kenya was pointing out some things about like that gray paint shouldn't be this and so on and so forth. And then they discuss Kenya hanging up on her. And Kenya just explained to her how that was basically insensitive, and pushing that on her was unfair. And Sanya apologized for that. But Sanya also explained to her it doesn't have to be a dude. Like, you don't have to be a dude. It could be a girlfriend or whatever. So everyone starts criticizing. I'm sorry. Sanya's party. Okay. So Drew, messy ass, says Sanya can't organize a party. How can she organize a trip? Sheree shows up. She's surprised about the party. It seems like they've been doing a lot of parties and celebration for Sheree. I mean, hey, So the photo booth ain't working. Now, this is all the stuff that's going wrong at her party, child. The photo booth ain't working. Everybody not happy with the food. They say those Jamaican patties that she had beef and chicken, were dry. Drew felt like she should have had a bartender and a chef. And the bar, Kenya and Drew were laughing because it was twist bottle wine, bottles of wine. Which, when I saw Sanya setting that up and I saw the twist caps, I was like, them bitches gonna say something about it. And they did. Drew tells Sheree that something to the fact that she throws rocks and hides her hand. And then Drew and Sheree start getting into it about Fatum, right? Sheree points out Drew is always, and I was so glad she did this. She pointed out that Drew is always the one that's getting into argument with somebody. And that is the truth. She's trying to stay relevant on the show. She's trying to get her contract for season 15. And it's annoying the hell out of me. But hey, get your coins, girl. Yeah, so Drew says something smart like, well, you don't remember because you're old. And honey, when I tell you Sheree snapped back, old and cold, bitch. Yes, I was here for it. That is how you tell her. Because Sheree looks good, right? But I thought it was funny that Marlo shades Sheree a little bit in the confessional, saying that she does look good. Drew's cute, but Sheree looks good to be 60. Now, we all know Sheree ain't no damn 60. And then the producer tells Marlo she's 52. Child, that Marlo is a mess. Kandi asked Drew, I guess, to try and lighten things up, to sing Happy Birthday to Sheree. And she does, and she sounds pretty good. So I guess she could sing, you know. They cut the cake, and then Sanya provides a list of rules for the trip. Child, she had a daggone, she had a daggone big ass what do you call it? It's not a whiteboard. What do you call it? Shit. You call it anyway, it was one of those big memo pads that you write on a little tripod or whatever. So her list of rules goes as follows. Water friendly hair, that means put your stuff in braids, honey, or whatever. No standoffs like they had at Blue Ridge, which I don't blame her for that. No props, no throwing no bones. Okay, Drew. Uh, no weed, no jail. So basically, which I didn't know, that weed is illegal in Jamaica. But honey, when you go to Jamaica, they be trying to get you to buy it everywhere you go. Because I know I've experienced that a couple of times I've been in Jamaica. They will try and get you to buy it, but apparently it's illegal. Who knew? Okay. And then she basically says everyone needs to be on their best behavior because this is a work trip for her, right? It's that whole iFit deal, and they're footing the bill. I'm surprised they're footing the bill for everyone, but she just wants everyone to be on their good behavior. So that was pretty much it. I got to use that old and cold bitch because I loved it. So you tell me what you thought about this episode. Do you feel that Kandi is justified in not trusting Todd when it comes to Riley? Um, how did you think Sheree handled Drew? I think she handled her very well. But anyway, that's it, guys. So please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget that hit that like button for my video. Until next time, peace.